Colorado issues last-minute roster update after Deion Sanders' threat to discipline two athletes. When Deion coach Prime Sanders took over Colorado football, he didn't just bring a new playbook, he brought a new way of life. From day one, the 58-year-old head coach made it clear that the Buffaloes would operate under a strict, no-excuses culture. This wasn't going to be the laid-back, loose locker room of college cliches. Sanders wanted order, focus, and pride. And now, after a tense bye week and a brewing internal storm, his words have turned into action. Colorado has issued a last-minute roster update following Sanders' recent threat to discipline players who disobeyed team directives. The announcement, though not officially naming names, arrives amid growing speculation that two players failed to meet one of Sanders' cardinal rules: punctuality and accountability. No slides, no excuses. The code of Coach Prime. Long before the first kickoff of the 2025 season, Deion Sanders sent shockwaves through Boulder with an off-field decree that would come to define his tenure. Appearing on a well-off media video, Sanders laid down his expectations like commandments. No slides, he said sternly. No hoodies, no headphones, and don't sit in the back of class. Each no was followed by his signature pause, a moment heavy with both humor and warning. It's gonna be a problem, he repeated, each time sounding less like a suggestion and more like a law. For Sanders, discipline isn't a slogan, it's a lifestyle. He believes that how you carry yourself Monday through Friday directly reflects how you perform on Saturdays. Football, in his mind, is only part of the equation. The rest comes down to personal accountability, respect, and self-control. And to those unwilling to live by those principles, his advice was brutally simple. You may feel free to separate yourself today. The player's transformation behind the scenes, despite Sanders' hard exterior, those who have worked closely with the team say something special is happening inside the Colorado program. In an October 24th video posted by reporter Scott Proctor, offensive assistant Rashad coach Shed Davis pulled back the curtain on what's really been going on. You're going to see some guys step up this game that you probably didn't think was going to step up, Davis said, his voice brimming with pride. According to Davis, a major cultural shift has taken root. Players are doubling and even tripling their film study hours, a remarkable contrast to last season, when simply hitting the minimum was a struggle. It used to be a fight to get the minimum, Davis said. But now it's like, man, what are you guys doing? You've got to get some sleep. These guys have really taken ownership, really knowing their opponent. That kind of transformation, from reluctant preparation to full-on obsession, is exactly what Sanders envisioned when he took the job. It's the sound of a locker room buying in. And Sanders, ever the meticulous observer, noticed every detail. Then came the warning shot. But just as the Buffaloes seemed to be hitting their stride, Sanders sent another jolt through the team. This time, one aimed squarely at those not living up to the standard. Speaking with Colorado's play-by-play voice Mark Johnson on the Colorado Football Coaches Show, Sanders revealed that a few players didn't make it back to Boulder in time following their short bye-week break. You've got to get back Sunday, Sanders said, his tone hardening. And a couple of guys didn't make it. There will be some consequences. You're gonna see those consequences. You're gonna say, I wonder why. That's why. He didn't name anyone. He didn't need to. The message was crystal clear. Punctuality isn't optional, and discipline doesn't take a vacation. Insiders close to the program believe at least two players will face limited playing time in the upcoming matchup against Utah. While no official suspension has been announced, the last-minute roster adjustments released Friday evening seem to confirm that Sanders wasn't bluffing. In Prime's world, lateness isn't a minor slip-up. It's a sign of disrespect to the team, the coaches, and the culture he's spent years building. Separate yourself today, Sanders' message to the team. In a fiery team meeting earlier this week, Sanders addressed the issue head-on. His speech, partially captured in team media clips, struck the perfect balance between frustration and faith. "Some people out here are just out here," Sanders said, scanning the room. "They already quit. They already shut it down because they know they have no future in this. But the rest of y'all do." Then came the challenge. Separate yourself today from the ones who already shut it down. It was vintage Coach Prime, motivational, brutally honest, and undeniably personal. He's not just coaching football, he's molding men. Every time Sanders steps in front of his players, it's not about the X's and O's. It's about who's willing to rise when the easy path is to drift. And that message of separation, elevation, and dedication is one Colorado fans have heard before. A record that speaks to both promise and pain. At 3-4, the Buffalo season sits on the knife's edge between resurgence and regression. Sanders knows that record doesn't tell the full story, but it does reveal one truth. The culture he's building hasn't fully matured yet. Am I ecstatic right now with where we are? No, Sanders admitted candidly during a CBS Colorado appearance. But I'm not upset either, because I know what we have in that locker room and on this coaching staff. It's the classic duality of Deion Sanders: disappointment without despair, urgency without panic. He's aware that the Buffaloes have the pieces to win big. The challenge is putting them together consistently. Quarterback Kaidon Salter has become a microcosm of that balance. After a rough start to the season, Salter rebounded with a stellar performance against number 22 Iowa State, throwing for 255 yards and rushing for 57 more. It was a glimpse of what this team could look like when preparation meets confidence. Sanders has made it clear, though one great performance isn't enough. Consistency, not flashes, will define Colorado's destiny. The Utah Showdown, a test of belief and discipline, the Buffalo's next challenge. A road game against Utah looms large. The Utes are battle-tested, disciplined, and thrive on exposing teams that lack composure. For Sanders, that makes this matchup more than just another Saturday. It's a litmus test for his program's maturity. "You believe," Sanders said during this week's practice. "The thing about it is we played this team a year ago and we were successful. Let's start right there. We believe." That belief, however, will be tested the moment the team steps into Rice-Eccles Stadium. Whether it's executing on third downs or staying mentally sharp after penalties, Sanders' Buffaloes will have to prove that his no excuses mantra isn't just talk. If the late returners indeed sit out portions of the game, Colorado's depth will be stretched. But in true Sanders fashion, he's less concerned about personnel than about principle. "The standard is the standard," he said countless times, echoing one of his favorite phrases. Discipline isn't a punishment. It's a culture. To outsiders, Sanders' no-nonsense rules may seem extreme, but to those inside his orbit, they represent something deeper. It's about creating habits that last beyond football. "You can't show up to life late," one assistant coach explained. "You can't slide through class, slide through practice, and expect to win. That's not how the world works, and it's not how Coach Prime works." Sanders' expectations have never been about control. They've been about preparation. When he tells players not to wear slides, it's symbolic of being ready, of not walking around casually in a competitive world. When he bans hoodies and headphones, it's about presence, about being alert, engaged, and ready to respond. And when he disciplines players for missing deadlines, it's not about embarrassment. It's about accountability, the kind that prepares young men to handle jobs, families, and real-world expectations long after the cheering stops.